Let's talk about two of my favorite things to talk about, sports and indeed tourism. Now, SA Tourism is seeking to attract more visitors to the country through sports activities. And in a bid to enhance the Springbok captain, Siya Kolisi has now been appointed as South African tourism's new brand advocate. Some would say finally. The sector is currently showing great signs of recovery, and the agency hopes this campaign will go a long way to convincing travellers to choose South Africa for various reasons. And to give us details on how this will all work, we're joined by the Acting Chief Marketing Officer for SA Tourism, along with many other hats that she wears, Bronwen Auret, who joins us in studio. I can see, Bronwen, you're very ready for this afternoon's test at Ellis Park. I won't say how jealous I am because I am missing it this afternoon. We really do love our sports, and I think you were sitting in the studio where the first part of my bulletin was just bad news after bad news and after bad news. And it's almost like sports is our therapy, isn't it? And what more of a reason do we need to tell people to come? This is the best version of us, of ourselves, is the wonderful sport events that we put on, not just from an infrastructure point of view, but from an atmosphere point of view. How has SA Tourism set its sights on sports as being a major draw card?
Marcel, we are certainly very excited about the opportunity that sport presents to tourism. Right now, if you weren't watching, the Netball World Cup opened in Cape Town. We're attracting, I think, almost over 30,000 travellers to Cape Town for this event just in this 10-day period. It's phenomenal. It's going to turn a lot of revenue into the economy in Cape Town. Moreover, we are demonstrating to the world how amazing we are at hosting these events. We're inviting everyone to be here, and it's just phenomenal that the Proteas won their game last night.
Absolutely, and we do love a winning culture, don't we? But we also love a party and having a good time, and perhaps because of the daily struggles that we face. How much of a game changer was us hosting the 2010 World Cup in showing the world that we can put on a world-class event?
I think it's critical. You know, from a tourism perspective, when we host an event, we either get to build infrastructure or showcase the infrastructure that we have. The Netball World Cup right now is being hosted in the Cape Town International Convention Centre, which is a convention centre that hosts meetings and events. So it is just unbelievable that we can, in fact, host a Netball World Cup with multiple netball courts in a 5-star graded exhibition establishment. It's just amazing.
It really is astounding. Now, you've got those sports events that come every few years, like the Netball World Cup is something we've been working to for a while, and we bid for it, and we won the right to do so. But would you say that it's almost more important for us to have set sports events? For instance, we've got the Cape Town Sevens that's been in Cape Town for quite some time, and hopefully it's not going anywhere. We're hoping to make Formula E an annual thing as well. Then you've got things like the big Soweto Derby that I know people travel from all over the world to come and see these Soweto Derbies. How do we balance out those big events that we get every few years and sort of making sure we've got enough sports events that happen every year that you can actually set your clock to?
I think there's always going to be a dynamic in that. You get your global events like the Netball World Cup that's happening right now. And, you know, there are things like the Rugby World Cup that we've certainly hosted in the past. But, you know, all of that is peppered with the different seasonal leagues that continue. And I think, you know, there's certainly much opportunity from a tourism perspective to continue that support. I think now that we are open for business from a tourism perspective, people are just so keen to get out and be on that field or around the court supporting their favourite players.
What trend are you tapping into? Are you seeing that there's an international as well as local trend for people wanting an event to go to? They want a reason to go to a place. How do you work around that trend?
So there are obviously big trends, but this is a big sporting year. With, again, Netball World Cup in Cape Town, you know, the amount of people that can travel there or who are in the Western Cape who will be going there is just amazing. You know, we have a lot of opportunities throughout the year to drive tourism to different places. You know, there are many games that are stayed here again that we can push people to, and I think it's just a fantastic year. This being a Rugby World Cup year, from a tourism perspective, is slightly different. It is a fantastic opportunity for us to showcase our country to the world. And that is the exciting opportunity that sport presents to tourism.
How important is the trickle-down effect? Because you obviously have your big tourism operators who are bringing big groups of tourists in. But I'm sure the aim is for that love to trickle down to even your small and yana tourism operators, tour guides, and like for instance, if we use netball as an example, people taking tours into the winelands or into the smaller communities, into Kailicha for tours there and that kind of thing. How do you harness the need for that to trickle down so that the development takes place in all the sectors that you need to see development in as SA Tourism?
Absolutely, Marcel. I mean, that is really what we aim to achieve. We work with the tourism sector, and teeing up to these events, we host big trade shows like the Africa's Travel in Durban, where we give everyone the opportunity to sample the product effectively and get in touch to set up those tours. And we are very, very supportive of SMMEs. For us, we give them the platform so they can engage with the tour operators so that they can be packaged for these opportunities.
Give us an idea of some of your short-term and long-term goals going forward in terms of sports tourism. Obviously, we know it's a massive sports year, but what do you see as being your major targets going forward?
Look, I think it's very exciting for us to have announced Siya Kolisi as our brand advocate this week.
It's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, and he is such a fantastic leader, globally recognized, and I think more than that, he's South African.
Quintessentially South African.
Quintessentially South African. And the way that we go to market, we have beautiful places to show everybody. We also have beautiful people. And what better way to show the world than have someone like that represent us? So that is a really great opportunity for South Africa and for Siya to represent our country, not only in green and gold, but from a tourism perspective, and to sell our message around the world. I think what's really important is we continue to sell how warm and welcoming we are as a country, along with our accolades as being, you know, one of the best destinations in the world. So I think it is a huge opportunity for South Africa to work through these tactical moments like the Netball World Cup and the Rugby World Cup that is coming up. The game today is going to be super exciting. The whole world will be watching that game in preparation for the World Cup here in Johannesburg. So that product placement is key. It's so important for us, so everyone can see that we are so capable. They get excited. They want to book their next trip here.
And our time zone is perfect, so people are really tuning in from all over the world because the timing is always perfect. And thankfully, that's at least one thing that we're getting right. Bronwen Auret is the Acting Chief Marketing Officer for SA Tourism. Thank you so much for your time this morning, and off you go to join the excitement and the lead up, both to the Proteas playing in Cape Town a little later in the Netball World Cup, and indeed the Springboks taking on Argentina at Ellis Park a little later on. Exciting times in your industry, and we're here for it. Thank you so much for your time this morning.